These rain barrels are part of 750 gallons of total roof runoff captured throughout the homestead. Overflow from the rain barrels is directed through a pipe which feeds a V-drain through the access path and diverted downhill to supply water to additional plants and berry bushes downhill. In the wintertime, this rain barrel is in the greenhouse filled with water, providing heat to the greenhouse plants. In the summertime, I repurpose it to hold a swamp juice mix composed of both rabbit and chicken manure, various cuttings from the garden such as comfrey and stinging nettle, and kitchen scraps. This anaerobic mix will be ready in about 60 days and will be fed out of a hose bib connector through a Y connector to mix with the rainwater, and then it will be applied throughout the kitchen garden via a hose to provide a liquid fertilizer in the late summer months. Most water catchments around the homestead have some ability to sequester water in rain barrels. Here in the greenhouse is a water catchment that takes water from the roof and directs it to a barrel. These barrels are used to water the plants in the greenhouse on a regular basis. When they become low, I simply run a hose from the other water barrels closer to the house into the rain barrel to refill it. In the new micro pond I'm installing in the backyard, I'll grow duckweed to supplement the food supply for the new Muscovy ducks arriving later this spring. Rainwater from the roof is diverted into a pipe which runs beneath the driveway and is trickled out in a drain that is flowing into the chicken paddock area to feed the fertigation canal. A water diverter is installed on the shower to send cold water before it warms up into the garden beds. The shower water is diverted into a drainage tub which is installed inside of an adjacent closet. During a shower, a bucket could be used to capture excess water, which would then be taken to the laundry tub and emptied out into the planned gray water reed bed catchment system to eventually filter that water which would go into the gardens. As the shower water is diverted from the second floor down through this pipe exiting the house, it leaves via a 1 1/2 inch pipe, reduced down to a 1 1/4 inch pipe, and further reduced to a 1 inch pipe, which eventually goes to a 1 inch pipe with small 1/8 inch holes drilled all along the edge to slowly drip the water into the garden. On the western side of the house, the roof drains will be directed into new 500-gallon Ibex storage containers. Overflow will be directed downhill into 2 new micro ponds on both sides of the fence. The water overflow from the 2 planned micro ponds on either side of the fence will flow downhill in micro swales to provide water to various trees, bushes, and vines along the fence, and finally to its end stop, which is going to be the hugelkultur bed at the far end of the backyard. Access around the property is from a blacktop driveway and a concrete sidewalk. Access from the driveway is a wood chip covered path leading down to the terrace gardens further down the hill, the new chicken paddock in process, and then access into the backyard around the chicken coop, the deck, polytunnel covered hoop houses, and other parts of the backyard to connect to the other side of the house. 2 gate doors that lead to the Zone 4 woodlot are accessible directly from the wood paths in the backyard. The house is the largest structure in the center of the homestead. It includes a large deck and a shed underneath the deck. This structure on the western edge of the property houses a backup generator which is tied into the house power in case of any long-term power outages. This chicken coop next to the backyard kitchen garden is where the chickens live during the winter months so they can prepare the kitchen garden for the next spring. Two rabbit tractors are moved daily along the grass pathways beneath the trees in the orchard. Some of the structures on the edge of Zone 1 include the chicken coop, a rabbit hutch, and 10 solar panels in the distance. In this 20 by 10 shed I built below the deck, I store my tools used in the garden as well as some hay for the animals during the wintertime. At the back of the kitchen garden next to the wooden fence is a 100 square foot greenhouse, continually in use throughout all the seasons. I received a present recently in the form of a mason bee house. I'll be erecting that soon for the springtime.